How's it going, everybody? It's AJ, and I have just passed the 50-hour mark here in Palworld. I am really enjoying this game. I am about level 50 in terms of my character, and all my pals are around level 45 to 50. And I've definitely hit a wall in terms of progression, so I figured why not just show you guys where I'm at currently, and then show you guys what I've done in terms of upgrades to my base, and hopefully this is helpful to you guys in some way if you're needing to learn of any guidance or tips that I've learned along the way getting to this point. So without further ado, let's go ahead and see what is new with my base. Here we go. Nothing's really changed in terms of my layout from my past video. Basically, I've had this house set up here. This is the same old house. Actually, it's probably easier if I just go to photo mode and show you guys. This is my main house that I've just decided to keep it. And this is where it all is right now currently. I've actually expanded upon it a little bit, where I've actually made all my pal beds off to the side here. So I have the 3 big beds and then a bunch of little pal beds in front of it. So that's where all my pals sleep. And then underneath here is still the same old manufacturing spheres, and then all the materials, etc. These are all tier 2 stuff, which I just got unlocked and built. So all that is now situated and still working on the bottom here. There's the blueprint table right there, which I've yet to actually mess with. But yeah, so there's that. Inside is the same old tavern look that I had previously. However, I've added a refrigerator that will hopefully at some point have food in there, but I kind of don't really need it for the time being for right now, because everything with the cauldron is kind of still working pretty well, and just putting into the basket. So that kind of just works for right now. This may be a little too much for where I'm currently at. I don't know if it gets crazier later on in terms of food and all that, but I've just been making a bunch of salads, and salads have just been working. It's easier to make, doesn't take a lot of stuff, and the pals love them. So I have a power capacity buffer right here. That's already 100%. So yeah, and then if you go up the stairs, this is all the same. I've now started using refined stuff, so I now have refined storages. These are for all my blueprints, my bed, some other chests. So this hasn't really changed in terms of the layout of the house, besides just adding more to the pals where they sleep and everything like that. Let me go ahead and actually sleep since it's nighttime. All right, now moving on to what I've done out here. One of the first things I learned really quickly as I continued to play this game is it is very hard to actually get everything to work under just one base. Unless you're wanting to build up in like a tower formation, in order to get everything to fit inside of its original spot of a single base, it is very difficult. And so I learned that because you're only limited to the amount of pals that you can have per base, in my case, with the normal basic setting that this game provides, you can only have 15 maximum pals per base. I realize I'm going to need multiple bases, and each one's going to be functioning as their own important goal and task. So I made the transition to make my original base that I did have originally to have one of each thing, like mining, lumbering, cooking, all of that together. I've decided to scratch that, and I've now dedicated this original base to be all dedicated to farming and cooking. So in here on the right side, I have a nice little farming house that has all of the different styles of crops that you can make. And then I have all my planters and all my waters all going ahead and just making sure this is running smoothly. I have the fountain to help with the process. And then I actually need to get the flower bed made. I have not gotten there yet. I just have to go out and get some mushrooms or something, whatever is needed in order to get that unlocked. But yeah, so this is all dedicated to farming. And then they're bringing all of the stuff into here. And this is just being made to make salads on loop. Salads are my main source of food. I already have almost 400 salads in here. And so, yeah, this salads have just been working really well for me. So I just have salads running in the background all the time. And then in terms of what I have over here, this hasn't really changed. I did remove the breeding thing that I had here, and I actually changed it to be this raid summoning stone thing primarily just to get the upgrade for the base. It's one of the things you need to build in order to upgrade a base. But I'm just going to leave that here for now. I haven't even touched this really, so that's just here for the time being. And then over here is just like my medicine resting area. I have the surgical table, and then I have all the resting, and then also the better resting areas, as plus my medic and all that. So that is all over here. That is what I have here. Nothing really crazy in terms of that. I got all my furnaces and stuff being made over here. So these are like the stuff that's making the metal ingots, and then also the refined and everything like that. I have 2 of them going just so I can have some making refined, and then I'll get the PAL metal going afterwards. But yeah, there's still a lot of room here that I can still add to. Like I haven't even touched this side of this platform, and then also I may replace this at some point with whatever may be coming up in the future. But for the time being, as this place being dedicated strictly to farming or crops, I should say, and just getting food made, this is my go-to. I'm always here all the time, and making sure everything's just running in the background as best as I can. And yeah, so that is where this is. Then I realized I needed to have another base dedicated to lumbering and mining. And so I have chosen this area, which is a pretty popular area apparently in the Palworld world of everybody that I've seen making their bases and such. This is a really good spot for people who like to have a mining area. And it's always been in this general area. So I just happen to have chosen the right spot because it was the closest one I could find. But let's go ahead and go here. It's right next to the island watchtower here of the windswept island watchtower, just south of it. So let me go ahead and transfer over here and show you guys what I did here. So this area is strictly dedicated to everything tied to lumbering, mining, ores, everything like that, as well as just making them if necessary. But yeah, so I have my lumbering here for hardwood. I have these stones actually respawn over time, so these get mined as well. I got the stone coal right here. All their beds are over here. And then up on here is the stone and the ore nodes as well. So yeah, I have all of my miners over here just doing things. And then, yeah, so that's just what I dedicated to here. I had to build a giant circle fence that goes all the way around just so this place does not get raided. I hate the raid mechanic in this game. I don't really think it's that fun. And so just making sure I have none of that going on is pretty important for me, just so I know I don't have to worry about it going forward. But yeah, so this is all I have in here. It's pretty simple, nothing crazy. This is just like you're here to work and just transfer and everything like that. And then over here, I have another base that is actually tied really close to my original base. So if I go over here, let's go ahead and fast travel back home. If I come up here to the right side of my home and then come on over to here, past the beds, if you look down there is my farming base. This is a base dedicated to breeding and farming. So I realize a lot of the stuff that the pals drop when they're in the farm, you actually need to get a decent amount of those in order to actually have things being made for you when you need to craft new things. And so I realized, crap, I need another base. And I wasn't able to do this until recently because you need to get to, I believe, all like base level 14 or 15 in order to get a third base unlocked. So once I got that, I was like, yep, I am dedicating a whole new base to just farms. So because I have 15 total pals, I was able to set up 3 farms, and in each farm, you can have 4 pals in each farm. So those are all just dropping their stuff. And then I have a couple of transporters who are just going ahead and dropping them in a storage. And then up here to the left is my breeding farm. I have not touched breeding at all in this game yet. I haven't even focused on it. I don't know what the best way to do this is. I know you need to make cakes, and I have not even made a cake yet. So in order to get the breeding to start, you actually have to make cakes. And then you have to just put a male and a female in there, and then just hope you get rare eggs and etc. in order to get those really nice pals. But I have not even touched that yet. So that is where that is. Now, I have one big thing that I have to say that has made this process so much easier to handle and made my traveling back and forth just go away. And that is because I was getting annoyed. I was actually almost about to stop playing this game because of all of the micromanaging I had to do by having to travel to the mining base and then back because I didn't have it and none of the chests are shared, etc. Well, I have figured out that it sucks that it doesn't get unlocked until way later into the game. You actually have to get to, I believe, past level 30 into like the 30 to 40 range. You get a item that you can unlock called a guild chest. And this is a chest that allows you to share items across all of your bases. And so all of the stuff that I find to be really useful in terms of just crafting and all the essentials that you need and just making sure it's just stacking all the time, I have them all going into here. And this makes it so that no matter which base I'm at, I can go ahead and just start crafting without having to travel back and forth. So for example, I have all of my mining stuff happening way over on another part of the map, but because I have the guild chests in all three bases, I can go ahead and just go to this furnace and I can go ahead and just start making stuff without having to deal with it. You were not able to do this for a good chunk of the game. I would say more than 25 to 30 hours of the game, you cannot do anything regarding this. You actually had to pick up your items and then travel back and forth, and it just became really tedious, and I hated it. I was not a fan of it. But now with the guild chests, I no longer have to do that. So I highly recommend, once you get to, I believe it's in technology, it's a ancient technology. It's at level 41. So yeah, you don't get it until level 41. So not till halfway through your leveling progression will you unlock this. But once you get the guild chest, make that and then put that in all of your bases that you currently have so that you don't have to travel back and forth. It makes the process so much easier in terms of just making sure you're able to go to a workbench and you don't have to worry about things being not in your inventory, because I can just go in here and mostly everything's available for me to make. I don't really have to do much. So yeah, just make sure the first thing you do when you get to level 41 is make a guild chest. That's the biggest thing. It's like the biggest quality of life upgrade that you can add to your game to make it so much easier. I highly recommend it. But yeah, that is my base layout and everything in terms of the update that I was going to provide to you guys here. After playing about 50 hours into the game, this is where I'm at. In terms of the story, I am needing to defeat Marcus. I've only traveled really up here, and Marcus is right here. So I just got over to this island, and I'm now trying to clear this all out. There's a lot of things, a lot of exploration I still have yet to do. But yeah, I'm over here doing this stuff. So I'm not even nowhere near close to being done with this game. This game is huge, but I'm enjoying it a lot. The only thing that I still have to do, and it sucks, is whenever I'm making food and I have to get food to all of the bases, I have to transport them all myself. So I can't take the food and then put it into a guild chest and then they get transported out and they can eat it like that. It does not work like that. Unfortunately, you actually have to put it into a feed box, and there's no transportation among that. So yeah, that sucks, but it is what it is. If that's the only thing I need to do in terms of having to manage all the bases myself personally, is just by going around and transporting food, I'd rather deal with that than having to go back and forth and make sure I have the materials in my inventory to get everything to work. But yeah. I will say I have a feeling the process will become much easier as I get better pals, because I have to say once I unlocked her, Sekhmet, she has made the making of everything by hand way faster. So there's definitely ways to make stuff easier, and I am glad I have that all working in tandem. But there you have it. Thanks again for watching, and let me know down below what you guys have in terms of tips, tricks regarding Palworld. What your thoughts are on this game, what your thoughts are on my base in this game. If you think there's better ways to go around it, let me know. I'm curious. But yeah, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Peace.